This is the Your Career Story podcast, and you're listening to episode 53, How to Not Freak Out. Welcome to Your Career Story podcast, a show that's designed for rockstar professionals looking for that extra booster shot of confidence in their careers. Whether you're trying to get clarity on a job transition, want some work-life balance inspiration, or need a strategy to snag that promotion or raise, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Jenna Viviano, ex-Wall Streeter turned startup junkie who now coaches hundreds of clients, empowering them to take back control of the job search and land their dream job. So sit back, grab a glass of wine, and prepare yourself for your weekly boost of career confidence. Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Career Story podcast. What I'm going to be doing is a bingeable bonus series similar to what we did for the Enneagram. But I figured that in light of everything that's going on and the environment and the climate that we're in as it relates to the coronavirus, how could I be more helpful to you guys? So these are going to be short snippets and short podcast episodes for you. And we're going to go through a couple of different things that I've just been hearing, the questions I've been getting. And one of the big ones is, how do I stop myself from freaking out? So we've been seeing a lot of people just totally, I know for myself, I went through all the emotions in a matter of 24 hours. I was panicked. I was excited. I was terrified. I was having all of them. I was like, it's going to be okay. And then go right back to panic again. So I know I've talked with a lot of people, especially my women in my Recruit the Employer program. And I feel like we've all had those emotions. So if you're sitting listening to this in your home because you are probably not commuting anywhere right now, you're not in your car, you're not walking somewhere, you're probably stuck inside. I want you to raise your hand and say, me too. You definitely probably feel that way if you have lived at all this week. So I'm going to talk to you today about some ways that I'm thinking through how to not freak out. Because here's what I believe. When we are freaking out and we are living in fear, we're making really bad decisions for our life. So I'm going to be here to equip you. That's what I love. What I get to do is to help people, especially during times like this, specifically as it relates to their career. And we're hearing about layoffs and we're hearing about, industries needing to get bailed out. It's very, very scary. And I have a couple of different tips and tactics that I am using for myself and I've been employing for my chatting with, quite frankly, with the other people that are in my Recruit the Employer group, other women, and just really walking them through, how do we deal with this uncertainty and how do we not freak out when everybody else is freaking out around us? So here's the first step to not letting yourself freak out. So you might be saying, Jenna, that seems a little counterintuitive. So the reality is, if we stuff it down and we say, we don't need to freak out, we don't need to freak out, we don't need to freak out, it's going to make it come out sideways. I know that I have done that. I did that this week when I was trying not to freak out. I ended up freaking out differently and was not kind to my fiance. So it's going to come out some way. I want you to allow yourself the opportunity to freak out for a little bit. You yourself have to define what that time period looks like. I recommend 24 to 48 hours. Anything beyond that, you're going to sink into victim mode, which we're going to talk about why that's not going to be helpful for you. The other thing you have to recognize is you're human. This is totally normal for you to be going through all of the emotions. What we did practically was we had what we called a numb out day. So some people may disagree with this. I thought it was really helpful. When we started to read a lot of the news and started to panic around like what was going to happen in the future and just the uncertainty that we had a day where Brent, my fiance, and he was playing a certain video game all day long, and I was watching a really dumb Hallmarky type of show. Quite frankly, that is what I needed that day, and that was okay. The next day, got up, put myself together, started to move forward and evaluate the things that I could control. So the first step of not freaking out is allowing yourself to freak out. The second step is pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and evaluating what you can control. What I think is so interesting about this time of life is that we often have this false sense of control in our lives. I think that's just what this is showing us. We think that we're more in control of our lives than we actually are. And this is stripping us of that feeling of freedom, of control that we feel like we have in our lives, and we are completely out of control. It's very uncertain times, and we're trying to figure out how to adapt to this new normal. So here is what I find most helpful. With fear comes just this paranoia, right? We're not really actually showing up for our lives. We're operating out of scarcity, not abundance. We're making decisions because we're fearful of something versus moving towards something. So this is what I recommend doing. This is what I've told all of my folks. You need to evaluate what can you actually control? Because there's so many things around us you can't control. The first thing that I would recommend is taking a pause, taking a breather, starting to rationally think through things versus just entering into pure panic mode. That's the first thing I would recommend doing. Pausing actually really helps. Let yourself sit in the silence. Let yourself sit in the stillness. Now, if you have children at home, that may not be possible right now, but try to find a little pocket. It can be just 10 minutes of just pausing and letting yourself be in the quiet and letting yourself feel the feelings. The second stage is limit your social media and news intake. I have recognized that from a week ago when I was ingesting it, probably, refreshing my screen of when I was Googling coronavirus and just seeing what the new news was, I was infinitely more distracted, overwhelmed, fearful, and just exhausted and fearful, right? Because we just don't know what's going to happen. And the media, and I mentioned this in last week's episode, they make money off of us being fearful. So, I'm not going to shame all people that are in media, but the reality is they know what sells and fear sells. So I have realized that by limiting my social media intake, limiting the amount of time that I'm actually online, has drastically improved my mental health. It's pretty obvious, but you actually have to put it into practice. So since I've been able to do that, I'm actually taking a total break. I told my clients, I said, hey, if you absolutely need me, you can Voxer me, but I'm going to be off my email this weekend. I'm going to be off LinkedIn this weekend. I'm going to be off Instagram this weekend. I am taking a pause on all the things, even though some things on Instagram are pretty fun, like the Upworthy account. I've been loving it. All the positive things, right? I'm focusing, if I am going to be on social media, I want to be looking at the positive things that I'm seeing. The next thing with evaluating the things that you can control, look around you and see where you can channel your energy positively. So I've been hearing a lot of people, they're making references about, people who were, during bubonic plague times, had to, isolate themselves. And then they wrote this beautiful manuscript. That's not what is required of you during this time period. But what are some things and where can you channel the energy with the time and the space that you now have to maybe reconnect with family members? I was reading something recently about some folks that are in China, that are missionaries in China, and they were talking about the reconnection that they've had with their family has been amazing during this time period. And what a beautiful thing to redeem, as we've been talking about redeeming the time. So I just want you to be thinking about where can you be channeling your energy towards things that you can control, not channeling your energy towards what's going on in the political landscape, not channeling your energy towards reading social media, channeling your energy towards positive things. I want you to do that. Here's some other things that I am focusing on to help with the things that I can control. One, I am social distancing. My fiance and I are not around other people because we just are taking that very, very seriously. So that is something I can control. So I am doing that. The second thing that we're doing, just our company in general, is we created a LinkedIn group. So I was realizing there was just so much noise on LinkedIn from, last week to this week, there was so much more noise. And so I wanted to create a practical space for people to really just connect with each other, get their questions answered, see job postings, also ask for encouragement, and be there for kind of a way to, again, redeem the time. So we call the LinkedIn group Redeem the Time. So if you're interested in being a part of that group, search for it on LinkedIn. We're going to have it in our show notes, and we'll give you access to it. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, where you are in the world. We're really utilizing this as just an opportunity to give back, and I'll be there answering questions. I've created videos in there. So yeah, it's just going to be a really helpful place. And for me, that has helped me establish what are the things I can control. I can control having a LinkedIn group and contributing there. The other thing is doubling down on supporting on my current clients. So my Recruit the Employer ladies are amazing. We had an amazing call this Wednesday on our group call, and I'm just grateful for every single one of them. They've encouraged me. They were encouraging each other. Some people have had some really rough weeks. Some people have had some really great weeks. And so we're kind of all over the map. But what I think is so important about that is the community is there. So for me, I'm doubling down on supporting those clients and helping them through this really rocky, weird time as it relates to their career and as it relates to their job search. So I'm just really grateful for being able to control that and doubling down on that. Hey there, guys. I know things feel really, really crazy right now with coronavirus. So I wanted to do my part and help local businesses through this podcast. No strings attached, no kickbacks, just raising awareness on how to support local businesses in our community, specifically my community. You may have seen this place on my Instagram stories if you follow me. If you don't, you should totally follow me at Jenna_Viviano. So I just wanted to tell you about a local place that I go all the time to brainstorm and strategize on this podcast, as well as eat super healthy food. The Urban Market located here in Franklin, Tennessee. And that's Urban, spelled Herban. It's a family-run neighborhood grocery and restaurant that supplies only the highest quality organic and local foods and supplements. To honor social distancing, they are offering to-go service as well as curbside pickup. They even have frozen, ready-to-cook meals from burgers to tacos to lasagna. Simply give them a call, place your order, and it will be ready for you to pick up curbside. We actually did this last night and it was delicious. Personally, my favorite dish are their tacos. If you're looking to support a local neighborhood business and you live in the Nashville-Franklin area during this time, or if you plan on visiting Nashville when this all dies down, either give Urban Market a call or they're offering gift cards. So give them a look, follow them on Instagram, and I hope you support them. So once you allow yourself to freak out and then you evaluate what you can control and start putting efforts there, what I want you to do, the third step is to look for opportunity. So one of the big questions that I've been getting specifically around the job search is, let's say your position was eliminated, you're maybe in the hospitality or the airline industry or the travel industry, the things that are getting really hard hit right now. What can you be doing, or what can you be doing during this time period? Let's say you got laid off. I've been hearing a lot about that. And if that is you, I want you to pause right now and I want you to listen to me. This too shall pass. You will find another job. You will not be out of a job forever. The economy will rally. You have transferable skills to even go to a different industry, which is what I want to talk about. And we're doing a podcast episode on how to pivot. So we're going to deep dive into this topic, but think about the skills that you have. Think about in your industry, how have you been able to bring value, and where right now in this point of history in the world can you provide value? Where can you use your skills for a different industry? We have a lot of industries that are still hiring. I think you need to hear that. I have been talking to recruiters, I've been talking to hiring managers. Companies are still hiring. So do not believe the lie that no company's hiring right now. That's just not true. Some may be pausing, some may be stalling, some may be trying to get ready to their new normal. That is okay. That those companies will hire again. So my point to you is, look for the opportunity. Where are your skills now? And how could they be helpful in another industry if your industry is not really working for you right now? The other thing is, you don't have to run yourself ragged trying to be helpful. So this is specifically for my entrepreneurs. I know someone said this to me and I felt like it was so helpful because I felt this responsibility as a small business owner. We have to figure it out, right? So we don't have an employer who maybe is going to save us or not save us. We have to figure it out as small business owners. And I've been seeing a lot of service providers just like giving away things for free and just trying to do all the things because fear has, taken us to the next level. And so what I really want to encourage a lot of you, and I've had to say this to myself, I had to have my business coach tell me this, you do not have to run yourself ragged trying to figure everything out today. The reality is the next couple of weeks are going to be a little wonky. As this starts to play out, as we start to see what starts to happen, we're going to have a better idea of what the landscape is going to look like. People are going to get comfortable working from home. They're going to adapt to their new normal. And so we just have to allow ourselves not to run ourselves ragged. So my entrepreneurs, I'm speaking to you whenever I'm saying this. The other thing when it comes to looking for opportunity is I want you to learn how to differentiate yourself. This is the best time to be networking. This is the best time to be reconnecting with folks. This is the best time to be adding value. We're going to be doing a podcast episode in a couple of weeks all about online networking. And I'm going to be specifically talking about how do we do this in our new normal? Like, how do you do it in a way that's not tone deaf? This is your opportunity to differentiate yourself. This is not the time for you to step back from your job search. This is not the time for you to not pay attention to what's going on with the companies you're interested in. Think now and think differently about how you can provide value before you even enter into the door. And the other thing that I want you to think about is, where is your community? Do you have community right now that you can be tapping into that's not just the people that are in your home right now in quarantine with you, right? So who are people that maybe in your work life that you could connect with? I know some of my Recruit the Employer women, we were talking about having a happy hour, virtual happy hour with everybody. We just speak virtually anyways. My women are from all across the country. And so for you, what could you host a virtual happy hour? Could you reconnect with folks in past companies and just have like a lunch date? Community is more important now than ever. And I'm so grateful that, we have the Recruit the Employer community for these women who are able to communicate with one another. So once you're looking for opportunity, the next step that I want you to take is not to slip into scarcity, because scarcity will keep you stuck. So this may sound counterintuitive, and I've had to rework this and reframe my brain and make sure that my mindset is right. But now is not the time to hoard your money. So what I have been doing is I've been actively looking for local business owners and trying to figure out ways that I can help them monetarily. And I firmly believe that that is important for us all to be partaking in as it relates to helping the economy. So I'm not going to get into an economic lesson right now, but we need you to still be doing the things and supporting the local business owners, because the local business owners are the backbone of America. And so these are some examples that me and my fiance are doing in order to really kind of keep that economy going the best that we can and helping contribute to other people. So first, you're going to be hearing ads throughout each of these kind of bonus bingeable mini series from local business owners or people that are small business owners from around the country. We have quite a few of the ads are sponsored, no strings attached. We are wanting to promote them and those organizations, and we want you guys to know about them because we love them. The other thing that we're doing is we're still putting deposits down on our wedding. So we realize that the wedding industry right now is totally topsy-turvy, and these are small business owners, right? These are not really large organizations. They're small vendors, they're small operations, and so we want to still be supporting them. We're still putting deposits down on our things, even if we're not going to have our wedding exactly, when we think we're going to have it. So we're praying that doesn't happen, but you never know. So we're still moving forward in that way. We're also finding one local business a day to support. So last night we got ordered curbside for one of our favorite eateries, Urban Market. And so we're just thinking about different ways. You're going to hear an ad specifically for a fitness studio that I love here in the Nashville area that you can actually have access to now if you live in New York City, or if you live in San Francisco, if you live in Atlanta. You can actually access their courses or their classes, which is amazing. And now is the perfect time for you to actually invest in yourself. I was just talking to a prospective client today and just really thinking through how to reframe this season of your life. That's why I keep calling it Redeem the Time season. It is not a waste. It is not a place where we're just going to sit and die. It's not always going to be this way. So how do you get ahead of the people that are in fear and stuck there and stuck in scarcity, and use this as the perfect time to invest in yourself? So when I'm talking about spending, I'm not talking about spending things on superfluous things that you don't really need and that aren't really benefiting, local business owners. I'm talking about investing in things that you're going to get a return on investment out of in the future, whether that is in your own professional development or personal development. Now is the time to do that because you have the time and you have the space to do it in this season of life. So I would really recommend thinking about how can you develop a new skill? What's that thing that you wanted to be doing that you haven't done yet? Think through those things and how can you be investing in yourself during this time period? And then the last thing with regards to this is I was listening to Don Miller. He's an author, for those of you who don't know, but he was doing a Instagram live that I was listening to, and I found it to be so helpful. And he was talking about there are 4 different people in life, basically, in our stories. We either are the victim, we're the villain, we're the hero, or we're the guide. And so I was really convicted by that because I think we all have a little bit of every one of those types of characters essentially in ourselves. And I was operating very much like a victim. Like, this is never going to get better. I cannot believe this. I am down in the dumps about it and just sitting in it. Like I said, it's okay to sit in it for a second, but you got to pull yourself out. Or you're going to be a hero in your life. And this is what he was talking about. Are you going to be the person that sees this as an opportunity and sees this as a time to invest in yourself, to do the things that you say that you were going to do? Like, now is the time. There is not a better time than now to be doing those things. So I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you acting like a victim during this season? And I'm not trying to be unempathetic towards that. I realize that there are some really hard things going on with a lot of people right now. And if that's you, I feel that. I know what that feels like. I have experienced loss. I want you to think about how can you reframe that in your brain to potentially make lemonade out of lemons and be the hero of your life again and pull yourself up and move yourself forward. And that is the best thing that you can be doing right now. The last way to not freak out is to journal through it. So these are 5 of the questions that I want you to be asking yourself. And you can write these on, open up a notebook. I love Moleskine. That's my preference. And on the top of each page, write each one of these questions. What am I scared of? The second page, what am I grateful for? The third page, what did I learn this week? The fourth page, how could this be the best thing that ever happened to me? And then the 5th page, I want you to put, what are my work wins this week? So if you've listened to my podcast before, you know I'm a huge fan of work wins and celebrating the things that we've been able to accomplish. I asked my women this week, what are you grateful for and what's your work win? Even in spite of all of that's going on, I want you to be looking out for the things that you really succeeded on. It could literally be like, I was able to get through a meeting and keep my sanity with my kids being at home today. Like that was my work win. That's okay. It doesn't have to be some grand thing that you like finished some project and had some huge ROI on it. It could be something super, super simple. So again, these 5 questions are, what am I scared of? What am I grateful for? What did I learn this week? How could this be the best thing that ever happened to me? I love that question. I'm going to be really journaling through that. And what are my work wins? And do the work. Don't just listen to this and say, yeah, those are great questions. I'll think about it. No, I want you to literally pull out your journal and do the work because it makes a difference. So again, just to wrap us up, and we're going to move on to the next episode in this series is 1st, let yourself freak out. 2, evaluate what you can control. 3, look for the opportunity. 4, don't slip into scarcity because scarcity will keep you stuck. And 5, journal through it. All right, friends, what is your biggest takeaway? I want you to find me over on LinkedIn. Again, if you want to get involved on our Redeem the Time LinkedIn group, search for Redeem the Time in LinkedIn's platform and you'll be able to find it. We are producing a ton of content on there as well. So I hope to see you there. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to meet you. Talk to you soon. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for listening to Your Career Story podcast. I would love to get to meet you. And there are a couple of ways that we can connect in between episodes. First and foremost, you know I love my LinkedIn. Second is via Instagram. And third is over on my website. I actually have a special spot just for you full of fun, free resources. So all you have to do is go to www.jennaviviano.com/resources. Super simple for a bunch of freebies that will help you boost your career. Hope to see you next week.